Good morning. Today we are finishing up our unit with CO71. I can classify solids and identify their faces, edges, and vertices. So classifying means being able to name it. So we're going to need to know these different solid shape names. We talked about different sided figures. Was that last unit, 2 units ago, when we talked about the quadrilateral and the pentagon and the hexagon, and we had all those different names. Now we're going to have solid figure names, like our cube, like the rectangular prism that we use in our math packets. When we find the volume of these shapes in the math packets, those are the names we're going to be talking about today. So our solid is the shape or figure that has at least 3 dimensions. So it's not flat. When we talk about a circle, a square, they are flat. These are 3-dimensional. You can hold them in your hand like a baseball. That's a 3-dimensional shape. Liv, do you want to move to a different spot so you'll be able to see the screen? So when we're talking about these 3-dimensional shapes, we have a face, the edge, and the vertex. And we have talked about this in our math packet. So let's go back to remember what it means. The face is the flat surface. So when we look at our cube here, that flat surface on the side, flat surface on the top, flat surface on this side. So it's all the flat surfaces. That is our face. So each of those sides, tops, bottoms, sides, those are all the faces of our shape. Our edge is the line segment where 2 faces meet. So when we look at the rectangular prism, we know that there is a face on top, a face on the side. The edge is where those 2 faces meet, that line. So we have another face on the side here. So then we would have another edge here, an edge here. So it's where the 2 faces meet. Those are our edges. So those line segments, the straight line, are our edges. And then we have the vertex. The vertex is the point where several planes meet in a point. We also call this the corner. So when we're looking for our vertexes, we want where all of those meet, all of the corners. So our vertexes are the corners. Any questions on the face, the edge, or the vertex? So we're all thumbs up. Are we feeling good about it? Or is there anybody who's a little shaky? Okay, but do you understand the vocab words? Okay, so now how do we use the vocab word? That's going to help the couple of us that were a little shaky on it. So I need to move my page up. And if you didn't get the whole definition written, you can always look back at the video to finish writing that definition. So now we're going to work on this together so we know how to classify each of these shapes. So this is important. What I write on the board, you write on your paper, so you can use this to answer our questions on the next page. All right, so let's look at our first shape. Does anybody know what shape that is? That has all squares to it. What is it called? It's not called a square, because that would be lying flat. This is three-dimensional. Lauren? It's a cube. A cube is made up of all squares. How many faces are on the cube, Zelda? 6. There are 6 flat sides, 4 going around, 1 on top, 1 on bottom. So there are 6 faces. How many edges are in a cube? Lilia? 12. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Then going up and down, we have 5, 6, 7, 8. And then on top, we have 9, 10, 11, 12. How many vertices do we have? Madison? 8. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Notice how I'm actually drawing my lines. I'm actually circling to help with my count. So that way I don't miss a corner, I don't miss an edge, or I don't count 1 2 times. So I truly do this. When I make my answer key for the test, I will circle all the edges, or put a line on all the edges. I will circle all the vertices to make sure that I'm counting it correctly. It's not Mrs. Gambino's making you do extra work. It's a way to check yourself that you're not missing any and you're not double counting any. Our next shape, who knows what that's called? It's from our math packets. Ava? It is a rectangular prism because there are rectangle sides, and being three-dimensional, we call it that prism. Rectangular prism. Do you need to be able to write that on the test? Yup. So write out rectangular prism. If you just put rectangular, it will be wrong. There are 2 words to it. You need to have both words. It's not rectangular, it's a rectangular prism. How many faces does a rectangular prism have? Melanie? 6. Just like with our cube, there's the front, the top, the bottom, and the back. There's this edge and this edge, so there are 6. How many edges are there? Layla? 12. So there's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And how many vertices? Lauren? 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, what is our next shape? Lauren, do you know it?
Triangular prism.
Very good. This has the triangles as some of their faces, so it is a triangular prism. So if it has the rectangles as the faces, it's the rectangular prism. If it has triangles as faces, it is a triangular prism. How many faces does a triangular prism have? Melanie? 5. It has this side, the top side, that back side. That's 1, 2, 3. The bottom is 4, and the back here is 5. So there are 5 faces for the triangular prism. How many edges does it have? Layla?
9.
Let's check and see if Layla's right with that 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Very good. So did you notice how I was tracing over it? So we want to make sure some of us were missing a side. So I did the bottom, which was 4. Then I did going up 5, 6. My slanted is 7, 8. Don't forget your very top. How many vertices are there, Jimena?
6.
Let's check if she's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very good. So truly draw your line, circle, make sure that you are counting correctly. Any questions on these top 3? All right, I'm going to erase so I can move it up so we can see a little better for the bottom 3. All right, who knows what our next, or bottom 4, who knows what that next shape is? Marina. It is a cylinder. Cylinder looks like the can. How many faces does a cylinder have? Marina? 2. It has the face on the very bottom, that is flat, and it has that face on the very top, that is flat. Going around the sides is not flat, and a face has to be that flat surface. So there are only 2 faces on a cylinder. How many edges does it have, Melanie?
0.
Why would it be 0?
Because edges are lines and there's no lines in cylinders.
Perfect. Edges are that line segment. There is no line. There is that circle shape, but that is not a line. That line is straight. There is no straight line in the cylinder, so there are 0 edges. How many vertices, Madison?
0.
Why would it be 0, Madison? If there's no edges, you can't meet to make a vertice. So there's no corner. So if you have 0 edges, you have to have 0 vertices. What is our next shape? It is not a circle. Zelda.
A sphere.
A sphere. The sphere is that ball shape. How many faces does a sphere have, Kelly? 0. There is no flat side to a sphere. It is all rounded. How many edges are there? Sawyer?
0.
0. There is no straight line. So how many vertices are there? Lilia? 0. If there's no edges, there can be no vertices. What is our next shape? Marina? It's a cone. And it looks like, one of those traffic cones, the safety cone, an ice cream cone. Cone is a cone. How many faces does a cone have, Sawyer? 1. There's only 1 flat side on that bottom. How many edges does it have? Lauren? 0. Because it is all rounded going around. But remember I said if it was 0 edges, it would be 0 vertices. Do we see a corner here?
Yeah.
We do. Because the actual definition of that vertex is the point where several planes meet in a point. We do have a point. It's not straight lines meeting to it. It's the rounded curves, but they do meet in a point. So when I said if there's 0 edges, there's 0 vertices, that was incorrect. There is 1 point. So there's 1 vertex. What is our last shape, Melanie? We don't, because it's a pyramid. Pyramid in its name, we know is going to have the triangles. So we just call it a pyramid. Because we know pyramids will have the triangles as their shape, as their side. So we just have to put pyramid. How many faces does this pyramid have? Sawyer?
5.
There is 5. We have our bottom. We have 2 would be this side, 3 would be the back side, 4 is the front side, and 5 is the side to the right. So there are 5 faces. How many edges does it have, Jimena?
8.
Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Very good. So how many vertices does it have, Madison?
5.
Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 vertices. Very good. So you need to have this front page filled in because it will help you on the second page. Sawyer.
Are all these cubes gonna be on the test?
Yes. You need to know the names. You need to be able to count edges, vertices, and faces. So you need to know the names of each of these shapes. You have to be able to classify them. Yes?
I have a question. On the second page, do we get to do like the name of it and the shape of it?
So let's look at that second page so we can answer that question. I just had to erase before I could turn. So it says, answer each question below. So you just have to answer the question. I have 5 faces and 6 vertices. What am I? So you have to look at that front page and say, which of these shapes has 5 faces and 6 vertices? So which of those shapes would fit that? What do you think, Claire? Yeah, so that's what I would put. Triangular prism is the only shape that has 5 faces and 6 vertices. So you are going to write, you're going to write the name of that 3-dimensional shape. So if you want to just keep flipping back and forth, if you want to take your page out of your binder and just set it next to you so you don't have to flip, whatever works for you. Then we have our review at the bottom of all the objectives of this unit. So look back at those objectives if you forgot a formula. If you need help remembering how to find the area or circumference. And then at the very bottom, we go all the way back to our angles. So you can look back at our angles unit to remember what vertical angles are, what supplementary angles are, what concave and hexagon mean. So look back at those. Are there any questions on today's assignment? Madison?
On the one that says I have 6 is it 2? Because
6 faces and 12 edges, not all the same length. That's key words. You have to read the whole thing. Oh, wait, which one? Sorry, I was reading the bottom one. This one says of the same length. This one says not the same length. So when you look here, you said you saw 2. Which ones have the same length and which ones have different lengths? So you've got your 2. Which one has sides that are all the same length? Okay. All right, if you are watching this at home, remember that our Khan Academy is due Thursday. Math packet is due Friday. If you have questions, please come see me. Have a wonderful day.